He besides Kalinick. And he's done it.
Back home in 26.98, 1:42.80. That's a big boy swim, Chris. That's a nice swim right there.
He shaved 3 seconds off his last time. 1:45.28. I'm not a quick math type of guy. I leave that to the wifey.
None of us are in the sport.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see where that's going to put him. Now, again, he can't win it, but he can get first place points.
Time now for one of the favorite events. You talk about energy, bringing in the general public, and what the atmosphere is like here. This one of the favorite events of all spectators in the state championships. Of course, I say that from experience. It's one of my favorites. I love the 200.
It's the perfect distance for a race. It requires speed. It requires strategy. It requires endurance. Yeah, absolutely. There's a reason people like this race. It's not too long, but you can see some place changes, and I think that excites people. People want to see heads-up racing.
Matthew Gaines in lane 1, Bradley Dunham in 2, Anthony Calderon Schuler in lane 3. In lane 4, it's Jack Dubois. Ananda Lim is in lane 5.
That is your man to watch.
Nolan Dees in lane 6, coming up on your screen. There he is. Jake McGahee, the aforementioned sophomore from Mill Creek, in lane 7. Parker Ciaramella, a name we're familiar with from Lassiter, the senior in lane 8. Dylan Scott, lane 9, Brookwood Jr., and then Daniel Gallagher from Lambert, a sophomore, coming up on your screen here in just a moment in lane 10.
You know, Ananda Lim came out last year with what I would very easily call a breakout year.
Yep.
And he hasn't slowed down. Not one bit. A top seed in both of his events. He is going to be a force to be reckoned with. And, in my opinion, has the opportunity for swimmer of the meet today.
Nolan Dees, was it last year or 2 years ago he put together a really solid performance for Centennial that surprised in a few races?
Nolan Dees, year in and year out, is a fairly consistent swimmer. So I believe last year was the one where we were kind of surprised. If I remember, he kind of broke out from an outside lane.
I beg your pardon for not remembering specifically.
I struggle with yesterday sometimes, Chris, but that's just the way it is. Interesting move by Bradley Dunham up at the top of your screen. He's going out for it, going to try to hold on all 8 laps. He is your early leader, 22:06. Dunham out of Decula.
Jake McGahee, by the way, in second place so far.
So again, this is where the strategy is going to come into play. Ananda Lim starting to make his move, starting to run down McGahee. But this third 50 is huge. Let's see if Brad Dunham can hang on. Churning the legs, making the move. Now you see the tempo starting to slow down a little bit.
Sure.
Had he gone out in 23.0 versus that 22.8, I believe, I don't think you see as much of this, but here comes Ananda Lim. McGahee, Ananda Lim, Dunham, stroke for stroke for stroke. Let's see who holds that wall a little better. I'm telling you right now, Chris, this last wall is going to determine the race.
Lim is in lane 5, by the way. And I think McGahee has surged to the lead.
It's McGahee and Lim. McGahee comes up, takes a breath. Here comes Lim, hard charging, up on the rope. That's going to hurt him, actually. And it is going to be Jake McGahee taking it with a winning time of 1:36.11.
Boy, oh boy, you may be watching the birth of a future star in the sophomore from Lambert. A kid who, if he puts up the time here today in the 500 freestyle that he put together in his county championships, his 4:18.13 would break a state record. So he'll have a chance to do that coming up here a little bit later on this afternoon. For now, well, he'll just have to settle for first place in the 200.
Massive swim by the Mill Creek sophomore.
Yes, I think I said Lambert a moment ago.
That's okay.
Mill Creek, I beg your pardon. Thank you.
Excellent swim for the Mill Creek sophomore, and you know what? This could be his coming out party. This could be where he is making the statement that he is here to be the champ.
The ladies' side. Heat number 1. and they'll take over the 200-yard freestyle. That'll be interesting. And by the way, just one more touch on McGahee as a sophomore. Kept his composure. He was third for how many trips down? 2, 3, or was he? He was between second and third between Lim. Right, had Lim breathing down his back, but kept his composure as a sophomore and was able to catch first place.
You look. Bottom line, when he came out of that last wall and took that big breath, that's literally like taking a Ferrari over a speed bump. Just to give you a visual. Anytime you come off that wall, you got to hold your speed. The fastest part of your race is your start and your turn. Anytime you don't hold that streamline tight coming out, or you take that first breath coming off, literally, I would tell my swimmers that's like a Lamborghini going over a speed bump trying to go 0 to 60 as fast as he can. Stayed composed. Bottom line, Chris, he just outgutted that field coming down the last 25. In my opinion, he just wanted it more than everybody else.
How many breaths you take in a 50 in that last lap?
Should you
in that last 50?
In a 200?
Yeah, how many should you, and then how many will you take in that last bit?
In my opinion, it depends on swimmer. There are some swimmers that are going to use an every other breathing pattern. There are some that are going to use an every third. I think at that end you are in such an oxygen deprivation.
By the end, right.
You just are breathing when you need to breathe. And again, he did a great job of hitting those legs and just trying to outgut everybody. I think Lim needed to be out a little faster now that I'm reflecting on that race a little more. But a great race all the way around. And we got another great race
Indeed.
right here.
You read my mind.
Coming into the finish, that's Sarah Johns.
With Mia Walters right on top of her. And by the way, Johns, a junior. Mia Walters from Mill Creek, a freshman. Sarah Johns from Parkview takes it.
Ladies, go ahead and relax.
Again, youth.
And I think that's going to be a massive thing that we're going to be pointing out this year. Again, Georgia Swimming fast. Georgia Swimming graduated a ton of high-end athletes last year.
We are, in 2 years, you and I are going to see something incredibly special, aren't we?
We're looking at the future. I think, honestly, we'll be able to point back at this broadcast and really be able to identify the next level of high-end swimming in the state of Georgia. I guarantee you we're watching a future Olympian right now that we don't even know about.
Is that right?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
And your champion in the time of 1:36.
I'll go as far as to say,
you've seen him.
I'll go as far as to say over the past broadcasts that you and I have done in the past 3 years, we've set a name that will appear on the 2020 squad.
2020.
Absolutely.
Finishers in the boys'
Wow.
200 freestyle.
Second heat. Ladies, 200-yard freestyle.
Up next, heat 2 of the girls' 200 freestyle, Mr. Referee. Swimming in heat 2.
Into heat 2.